Hi everyone, welcome to Divided Films, the podcast where we talk about movies that audiences and critics do not agree on. I'm JJ, with me is my co-host Keith.
Hello!
And our special guest today is our good friend James.
Hey everybody,
how's it going?
Pretty good. Formerly known as James C. Phillips III.
Formerly, it's still my name.
No, like as in formal, not former. Sorry, I have a problem with my R's. Okay. So today we are talking about the 2005 version of War of the Worlds, directed by Steven Spielberg and starring Tom Cruise. This movie falls into the category of a positive score with audiences. Let me start over. 75% with critics. So a positive score with critics and a negative score with audiences, 42%. The critics' consensus: Steven Spielberg's adaptation of War of the Worlds delivers on the thrill and paranoia of H.G. Wells' classic novel while impressively updating the action and effects for modern audiences. Now, you guys all had a chance to watch the movie or rewatch it. What does this disparity surprise you? Critics liking it and audiences not liking it?
Not really. I'm not surprised.
Mm-hmm.
The things that they said were true. The thrilling parts were very thrilling. You know, I definitely felt claustrophobic at times. You know, I was on the edge of my seat at different times. This is me just theory crafting here. I don't know if it's true at all.
Yeah.
I also feel like you don't want to be too harsh if you're a critic on a big name like that.
Like Steven Spielberg?
Yeah.
Oh.
You know, so I think that may have padded out this movie a little bit because it did have some serious problems, which as an audience member, I'm sure we're going to get into. But,
Yeah. I think that's a good point. I think maybe critics are, a little, I don't know if they want maybe lenient on Steven Spielberg, but maybe his name kind of elevates it alone.
Yeah.
We'll see about that. How about you, Keith? What do you think about the disparity here?
It makes sense. I feel like the critics, what they're saying, it sounds like they like it, but it also sounds like like the lines that they use to they would use on the poster. Like, I liked it. It was thrilling. It was a great fireworks display. It's like you can kind of see that as like a 70, like C plus.
Yeah.
The teacher's like, I really love this essay, C minus.
Yeah.
The audience score, I'm actually kind of surprised it's not higher, but still like a negative, like 42. Like it was a bit like, oh wow, they really didn't like it.
42 I feel like is more of a firm negative than say, because the threshold for fresh is 60%, right?
Mm.
So maybe like if it's like in the 50s, it's like maybe they're a mix, but 42, that's definitely more on like the negative end. I will say that this is the second time I've watched this movie, and my feelings have not changed about it. I tried to go into it more open-minded, but I feel like this is not an enjoyable movie. And there are some impressive set pieces in it, but ultimately my biggest problem, we'll get into each aspect of this movie, but my biggest problem probably is the aliens. Like, this is an alien movie, and these aliens just, I don't think, are very interesting. And this is Steven Spielberg. I mean, this is...
Man knows aliens.
He does. Like, E.T., Close Encounters, like, this guy knows... or he has experience making alien movies. So this, I don't know how these aliens... I'm not that familiar with previous War of the World incarnations, but this... if they're all like this, then maybe they should have totally reimagined how they were. I don't know. Like, what do you think of these aliens?
Well, they were a little generic.
Yeah, they're not memorable.
I feel like you had your Morgan Freeman. Morgan Freeman established all the lore, and I feel like it did that. What is it, like a cardinal sin, where you just he just told and didn't show anything. It's like, oh, these aliens were looking at the Earth for millions of years, and now they're back to get it. Like that.
Okay,
that's it. And that's the. But we don't actually.
But what do they want?
Yeah, exactly. We don't.
That's the biggest
what do they
question.
want?
I think it's kind of
To eat us?
It's kind
Sort of.
Well, it's confusing because they, I guess, are trying to terraform the Earth to be like more to what their world is like, and they're using human blood to do that.
Yeah.
But they're also vaporizing a lot of humans. So like, why would you vaporize humans if you need them?
But what's their planet like if it's not
like,
human
well,
blooded?
We don't know.
It's just not clear to me like what these aliens, like their whole plan is confusing to me.
Well, the famous Deus Ex Machina ending, which
yeah.
Well, I know. I'll only address it a little bit in regards to your question. This was written the book was written in the 1910s. No one knew what a Deus Ex Machina was. Of course, how do you defeat it? And it worked probably in the 50s too. The first adaptation of it. And what's the aliens' plan? If they're observing us for millions of years and they had to bury these machines, shouldn't they know about? Shouldn't we be wearing gas masks or something?
Right. If they were observing us for that long, should they know a little bit more about the planet overall? Like, what else is on there that might be a harm to us? And you had millions of years for your planet. Like, you had that much time.
Are these aliens from science?
I would say
they don't know about water. They don't know about
germs.
germs.
The same problem with those aliens. Like, you study this planet, but you don't even know that you can't even go there. Like,
70% of it is made out of stuff you can't touch.
Yeah. It's kind of a head scratching. So we'll start with the premise when we talk about different aspects of the movie. So just the basic premise. This is a modern take on what is, I guess, a classic story, War of the Worlds. And the idea of this story, at least from this version, is that aliens are attacking Earth. That's really it. And yeah, what do you think of just the very idea of this movie, an updated version of War of the Worlds? Is this something that you think is worth making or worth seeing?
I think that size says everything.
Not with just the base premise. Not aliens are attacking the Earth.
Because there's not really much more to it than that.
It's true. Yeah.
Well, it's like one man's odyssey with his shitty kids.
Right. If you had to dive more into the specifics, it's Tom Cruise plays like a blue collar, like divorced dad who has to escape these aliens attacking with his estranged son and daughter. So the movie narratively focuses on that family dynamic.
But that's where it fails as well. And I think that's one of the main reasons why it didn't come over well with audiences, because you have the Deus Ex Machina ending at the end, so it solves itself, and then you don't get a good resolution with the family that you've been following the whole time, so you're just left like, well, I guess it's over now.
It's like, oh, all right, I guess that's it.
Yeah, and if they had wrapped it up
better... You watched a fireworks show. Like, wow.
If they had wrapped it up better with the family, they had developed that a little bit more, you understood a little bit more about them, seen them, like, the peaks and valleys of that relationship, maybe that resolution at the end could have like saved it. Could have been going from an okay movie to that was pretty good, But since you didn't have any of that, it just kind of fell flat overall.
I agree. I think if you're gonna follow this family, you really have to be invested in them. And for me, I found these kids very unlikable.
Yeah.
They were. I get that like they're
Dakota Fanning, is that her name?
Dakota Fanning and Goku.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, Goku from maybe not the best track record for this guy, but basically, these kids don't have the best relationship with their dad. But I just think it's kind of annoying that they can't put their personal problems aside when aliens are attacking.
Yeah.
It's like they're driving, they're trying to escape, and when Tom Cruise reasonably, it's like we can't stop very long. People might try to take the van. They're like, whatever, Dad. You don't even know us.
Where's Mom? Where's Mom? It's like, guys, calm down.
A couple things. I guess Dakota Fanning is she's sort of known for being like the quote unquote precocious child actress.
At that time,
she's been around a little bit.
I just felt like in the beginning of the movie, I was like, this is not a believable 10-year-old.
Yeah.
Like maybe I'll give it that like she's a precocious 13-year-old, but when she was talking about, hey, that's not how you're gonna get through to your brother. You're not going to get through to him when Tom Cruise was talking to the son. I was like, I think that's a little bit more insight than your 10-year-old would have about the social dynamics between, relationships and everything.
Yeah, she knew better than the dad.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, I didn't understand, well, I get that Tom Cruise is a blue-collar dad. He doesn't see his kids as much, but, like, why was he that bad. I'm like, y'all are giving him a really hard time. Like, I don't understand what he.
The movie
The job's
tries-
too important for me.
Yeah, he really loves working on the docks.
Right.
But the movie tries really hard to make Tom Cruise seem like a bad dad. Like, he knows nothing about his kids. Like, when he's making sandwiches, I'm allergic to peanut butter. Or, like, when he's trying to do, like, the safe space thing, like, Dakota Fanning's like, that's not even how you do it.
Yeah.
It's like, this guy can't catch a break. It's like, all right, we get it. He's a bad dad, but like, if aliens are attacking, like, shouldn't they be like, all right, we're more concerned with being alive than we are about like whatever bullshit we have between us.
Well, they had no idea what to do with the sun.
Yeah,
Like we
that's
can get,
true.
we'll
They
get
like
into
wrote him
that.
out.
They'll
They
get
wrote him
into
out.
that, and then he pops up again. But we'll get into
So I just wish we had I wish they had established that okay, he is a dad. He's a bad dad for these reasons.
Yeah,
You know, he should be called Dad
Yeah.
Fights
It just
Aliens.
seemed like he was a dad that didn't see his kids as much. And, you know, mom has a new relationship with a super successful guy. That's fine. They've got TiVo, all that
They
stuff.
live in a beautiful
You know,
house.
they live in a great house. But it just seemed like, well, I get that, like, he's not as successful as the other dad, so they're probably there more often. But he didn't seem like he was neglecting them or tried to neglect
Cut
them.
him a break.
You
You're
know,
old enough to cut him a break.
Yeah, and it just seemed like they just were resentful to him for no reason. Like
They should have established it better. Like,
right, did he ruin the marriage? Like, did he? We don't know.
Yeah, exactly. Like, what? Maybe he cheated. Maybe he hasn't been there for them in the past. Whatever it is, but these kids just kind of seem spiteful. And again, like, it's just kind of confusing that they continue to be spiteful in these insane circumstances that aliens are attacking.
You've seen people be vaporized, and you're like, oh, this car isn't good enough. Why are we in here? Like,
Yeah, like, what are we doing?
Well,
in this van?
I do think for me, when I was watching this, and I probably haven't watched it since like I saw it in theaters.
Mhm.
I think this movie starts. I can defend a little bit of the first half hour of this movie.
Oh yeah, it does actually start.
I think this
The
movie
setup
does start
is
off as
interesting.
like a 75, and then it slows down into a 42.
Yeah, if you maybe gave percentage for each act of the movie, maybe.
I think it's a slow down avalanche into the 42, but I do think the setup for this, aside from the shitty family situation, but then again, once the aliens, all that stuff, I'd get the fuck out.
Yeah.
I'd get the fuck out. I wouldn't even go close. Like I kept saying, like, run. Someone run.
Mhm.
Like, the crack gets bigger, I'm out.
Yeah,
The alien pops out, I'm out.
I'll
And
give you
the
that.
guy is going, why are you taking my car? And there's people running, and
Yeah.
he's like, why get in?
And
Why
it
are you
happened-
taking my car, Tom Cruise? Why?
It was literally like 5 blocks away, and it seemed like anyone that was not in the immediate area
That
had
guy
no idea what
That guy
happened.
had no idea what was going on.
Yeah, it's like this alien spaceship tripod thing is at least like, I don't know, 50 feet tall.
Like, okay, you're getting the news reports, and you're like, okay, I'm just like imagining myself, like, you're getting the news reports, I'm like, okay, that's weird. And then all of a sudden you get the lightning, and I didn't know Amy Ryan is the neighbor. She's the neighbor holding the towel. She
Oh,
goes,
from The
I didn't
Office.
notice that.
Yeah, I noticed it this time.
And she's like, that's weird. The wind's going that way. I'm like, that is weird. I'm getting, like, that's not normal to
but I
me. The
think
lightning
that-
striking in the same place.
that might be
Yeah.
an example of me of like telling and not showing, because I feel like some of that setup just involves explaining why it's weird.
Yeah.
Because they're like, the wind is going the wrong way. And I'm like, I don't know what that means. So,
Oh, but they should have had one guy going, like, I'm getting the fuck out.
Yeah, because
Like-
nobody did that. When the earthquake, which was the spaceship coming up, when the first crack happened, people were like, whoa, crazy, and like, but they were still around. And then it happened like 4 more times, got bigger and bigger and bigger, sucked up a car, and people were still just hanging out watching it. Police were like, hey, back up, everybody.
And then the tripod comes out, and they're like, oh, cool.
Yeah.
And then it makes a noise. Oh, hey, like, hey, maybe it's E.T. in there. Maybe he's a friendly. And then it just starts, they don't start running until it, like, vaporizes the
Yeah.
guy, and they're like,
I would
oh,
have been out a long time ago. Like,
I would not
after-
have stuck around.
Yeah, maybe like the first or second crack, I could see people maybe still like.
Like,
saying-
what is this?
Yeah, you know what I mean. But after it cracks the church in half,
The same
Maybe,
hole.
maybe it's a criticism of the people in Bayonne. Maybe Steven Spielberg really didn't like Bayonne.
Was it Bayonne? Is that what it was?
Yeah,
Yeah.
the bridge gets fucked up.
I thought it was Queens for some reason. I
It
don't know
was,
why.
it was Bayonne. For some reason, even I knew that as a kid, and I was a little jaded. Like, why does New Jersey get destroyed, but Boston's fine?
Yeah, Boston is just like
Yeah, Boston's okay.
Hey, Ray, you were absolutely right. That's exact. I had to change the song. Ray, hey, Ray, Ray, Ray. What? Come on, open the door. Come on. Open the door, Ray. What are you?
Get in, Manny.
That's funny. You gotta get out of the car. You
Manny,
can't
get
do
in
this.
the
Not
car.
my car. Not your
Manny,
car.
listen to me, pal.
What are you got,
Manny,
kids?
Manny,
Daddy's
shut up.
acting crazy.
Get in,
Can't do
Manny.
this. Get out. Guy's gonna come back. He's not gonna.
Manny, I don't have time to explain.
You're busting my chops here. I got a shop to run. You know how many
Manny,
people's
listen to
cars?
me.
No, Ray, get out of the car.
Get in, Manny, or you're gonna die.
I would agree that the set pieces, especially in the beginning, are impressive because you do see the bridge getting destroyed, and it does look cool. Like it looks interesting. It's very well done on a technical level.
Yeah.
But that is not really enough for me, and I'm surprised. I feel like usually critics are not willing to forgive a movie just for having good effects, but it seems to be the case here. Like, they don't give Transformers a pass just because their effects are cool, but for some reason with War of the Worlds, I guess that's to be something narratively that they're seeing that we're not as audiences.
I will say this movie did get nominated for special effects, and it didn't win anything, but I do think that it did get nominated for like sound mixing, and I felt like that sounds of the aliens. I still remember in theaters going like, all right. And the setup works because you know aliens are coming, and you're kind of ignoring all the shitty details of like, oh yeah, the kids are shitty. You're kind of like, okay, wait until the aliens come.
I also do appreciate the aliens attack like right away. Like it's only like what, like 10, 15 minutes before the tripod.
The first act is only like a half hour. It gets out of Bayonne.
It goes right into it. It's called War of the Worlds. You get right into it. So that's fine. And maybe that's why they didn't develop the characters as much, because they just wanted to dive right into this situation.
I also felt that this is me, I guess, maybe nitpicking, but the aliens' laser beams were like, I didn't figure out how they worked. Because I feel like sometimes
the vaporizing,
they would vaporize, but then also they would blow through buildings other times too. So it's like, well, so is it organic matter? It turns to dust, but other stuff it sort of just like blows up. And I didn't, but their clothes were fine.
Yeah.
When they vaporize, their clothes would, I guess. I
don't know what
the screenwriter is just like, why don't you write your own damn movie instead?
Yeah, the vaporizing thing to me is such like an old-timey way of portraying aliens.
Yeah.
Right? I feel that's something maybe from the 50s, the way they portrayed aliens. They zap you and you turn to dust.
Yeah.
I feel like that's the kind of thing that was maybe satirized in the Iron Giant or something. It's like it was kind of made to be silly. Because it is silly. Like, aliens are zapping people? Like, why?
It literally was zapping.
It was just, like, silly.
You get the Batman effect.
Zap. But the movie is like a totally serious tone, though.
Yeah.
Like, there is a sense of excitement where, like, the crowd, they're running for their lives.
Yeah.
You don't want to turn to dust.
And it's haunting when he it's like, Dad, you got dust on you, and like that is a well shot. It's just like it's haunting a little bit. Like
He's like, when they're like, what's that on you? And it's like, it's people.
Dust people.
Yeah, that was I think Tom Cruise does a good job in this movie. Like, he does seem like really horrified as a guy trying to like figure out what to do.
This movie should have worked. The
Yeah.
movie has all the right, Spielberg and Cruise worked together only a couple years ago on Minority Report, and I think that's a really good movie.
Yeah, it's great.
David Koepp is a really accomplished screenwriter. He did your favorite movie, James, Jurassic Park, Spider-Man, The First Mission Possible, and he's still working today.
Yeah, on paper, this totally sounds like.
And I think I know why
it
came out around this time. There's some lines that I picked up this time around. It's like, what's going on out there? Is it terrorists?
Yeah,
And
you're
I'm like,
right.
wow, this really is playing on that 9/11 fear.
2005.
And
yeah,
the first War of the Worlds is basically just the communists are attacking and all that.
Yeah.
And this one is just basically like, Bin Laden, he has spaceships now.
They did say that like 5 times.
Yeah.
Well, he's a terrorist.
Yeah.
I was a little confused too, because after like everyone's kind of like refugees, like all the cars are stopped, basically society is like at a halt. Everyone is like talking like, I heard that like it's Bin Laden, I heard this, I heard that. Like, from who? Like, there's no communication going on, I thought. Like, everything is shut down. So how are you hearing like, oh, I heard in Boston they took some down? Like, who? Like,
one guy was like, Europe's fine, and the other guy's like,
oh yeah,
Europe's not fine.
Europe is a booger. Like, who? Like, how are they? I don't know. Like, little things like that kind of bug me and take me out a little bit. Like, if this is supposed to be an apocalyptic situation, you would think there'd be no communication going on.
And because they kind of established that, where like the EMP like knocked out all the cars, all the electronics, but then some things were working. Like the one guy had a video camera.
Yeah,
He like right after the EMP happened, knocked out all the cars,
and it has that shot.
That's how does that?
It only works for the shot.
It's a good shot of like the first guy vaporized. You see the camera drop,
Right.
and everyone running for their lives, and through the camera you see the zapping like that. See, Spielberg, has these great shots in every movie, good or bad. He has these iconic shots that are like the selling point. So that was one of, I guess, I don't know if there's others in this movie we'll discover maybe, but that was one of.
No,
that's it. All right, that's it then.
Yeah,
I'll defend the first half hour of this movie, and I would say the first half hour is worthy of the 75%, just because I do think the setup, I'm kind of along for this. Like this guy trying to do right by his kids, and maybe they're throwing the baseball a little hard. Calm down there.
Yeah.
And then once they leave Bayonne, it's a sliding scale into like they don't know what they're doing here.
Yeah, I that's the thing. In this movie, I kind of had a hard time understanding where like the plot was going. I had, I guess, a loose sense that we got to get to Boston because that's where like the mom is. But for the most part, it just seemed to me like an endless string of aliens attacking people. Like they're on a boat and the alien topples the boat. Yep. They're like in a field and like there's army guys fighting aliens. Like where is this all leading? Like nothing was going anywhere. It was almost episodic in a way.
Yeah. A little bit. And they are coming out with like a war. I just read this the other day.
Oh yeah.
The BBC's coming out with their own War of the Worlds, but I think it's like in the 50s, or it's not now.
Oh, set in the past sometime?
It's set in the past somewhere. And I'm like, it probably works back then. It probably works better back then as
probably
a modern
period
day.
Piece.
Than a modern day, just because
that makes sense.
They should have died so many times.
Yeah, it's one of those movies where they're like outrunning.
Everyone else is in a red shirt except for you stick with the heroes and you'll survive.
You know what's crazy? The one thing that took me out of it immediately was when they got to the mom's house and nobody was there, right? And they made the peanut butter sandwiches, all that stuff, and they went to go sleep in the basement, and the plane crashes, right?
Yeah. They should have died.
Takes out 90% of the house. The only part of the house that's still up is the stairway that they come up, and there's like the wall behind them, and then also the van is fine. Completely untouched. There's destruction everywhere. Every other house. Everything else is destroyed. And then it's like, okay, just get in the van. We gotta go. And I'm like, but how did the van, which is sitting right outside the house, where the house got destroyed, completely leveled, everything, was plain wreckage, except for the stairs that they come out of from the basement.
Yeah,
and the van.
They're very lucky.
It's just really convenient.
They're very lucky in this movie, and this also has one of those kind of apocalyptic cliches where they're outrunning the destruction.
Yeah,
they're constantly just like a few feet ahead of like the death.
Can't have a movie without Tom Cruise running. Like,
no, that's true. That's a must. And then even like the news van. Like I thought all cars weren't working, but there's a news van that's working.
Yeah. Hey, were you on the? It's such a movie thing to say, but in retrospect, it's just like, hey, were you on that plane? No, be a lot cooler if you did.
Yeah. And also, if she were, it's stupid that she said it at all. But if she were gonna say that, she should have said that like at the beginning of their conversation, not when she was like, okay, we're leaving, and then ask him, hey, were you on that plane?
Also, you're still working.
Afterthought.
Like, are you getting paid?
We're still covering the news.
This isn't overtime.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just, that was kind of exposition-y. I thought, like, this is what's happening in the rest of the world now.
This is Detroit.
Yeah.
This is Detroit.
It's like, it seems the same. Okay. It's Detroit. Okay, so...
The one thing that made me unintentionally laugh this time around was the train. They're all walking.
What is that train?
And then,
I don't understand.
NJ Transit comes by completely on fire, and everyone's like, all right. I was like, no one had like a shocked face or anything.
But what was that? Why would there be a train on fire just roaring past them?
I guess to signify
the horror.
It's everything.
The horror.
The destruction that's going on. And it seemed like it was a runaway train. It was just like going.
Because the train had been going since before.
Yeah.
But this seems like a good day and a half in, and the train is still going. So I think, Keith, you brought up, on paper this should work.
This should work.
But maybe, director, writer, actor, like all those things sound like they're in place. But maybe they shouldn't have adapted War of the Worlds. Maybe they should have just made an original Alien movie. Because it does seem outdated. Yeah. And this probably would work in an earlier time period. It seems so out of place to have what seems to me like an outdated alien concept in a modern time.
I agree.
Like, you know what? Yeah. I found kind of silly as well. after they get into the basement and the little scout scope comes through.
Oh yeah.
And then
Tim Robbins.
No, before that.
Oh, okay.
No, actually, it is with Tim Robbins. You're right. The scout scope comes in. I actually thought it was a very suspenseful, really tense shot, or not shot, but scene. I thought that was really well done. I actually kind of was like on the edge of my seat, really feeling the suspense at that point.
Sure.
That was one of the points in the movie. Is like, okay, like this is really well done. Like I'm enjoying the movie right now. But what I found kind of silly afterwards is that the aliens kind of just came to the basement and were just looking around, like messing with the bicycle.
What's the point
Look at this picture.
What's the point of the scout thing if the aliens are just going to come down in anyway?
But they didn't even, like, why were they even in there? They were just looking at stuff, like messing with the bicycle wheel and just dicking around.
Like, do they have? They're trying to take over the world. Why are they going to every single little house?
Yeah, every little basement. Just
to like
look
find
at these
people.
human knickknacks. Like
But that tentacle thing, that does remind me of that Minority Report where the spiders are going in and trying to find Tom Cruise. There's a suspense with that. And then here it comes again.
I get it. I know you wish you watched Minority Report instead.
No. There's just this is their second time working together, and that suspense is done so well.
You and me, I don't think we're on the same page.
Well, with that scouting sequence too, I agree that was a suspenseful scene, but it went on a little too long.
It did.
And I had a couple moments where I was like, come on, like, they hide behind the mirror and you think it's over. But then Dakota Fanning's leg slips out, so then it keeps going more. And I'm just like, oh, come on. Like, Dakota Fanning was such an obstacle this whole movie.
Yeah.
Like, I get it that, like, Tom Cruise has to protect her and that's the stakes, but she seemed to be a frustrating hindrance in this movie.
Yeah.
the kids in general were just kind of tacked on. I feel like there could have been something there. Like again, if they had developed the relationship or explored the relationship, I don't even want to say developed, but explored it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Maybe you could have flashbacks or
Right.
something.
You know, I also feel like they just, if we're gonna go towards the sun now,
Oh yeah.
they just wrote him out.
Yeah.
Like, it was
Would
like
the army accept him? Like, hey, I want to fight. No, you're,
But he
who
didn't
the
even
fuck
say
are you?
he
You're
wanted-
16. Get the hell
He
out.
didn't even say he wanted to fight. He said, I need to see this.
Yeah.
Like, see it, like, and do what? I get that he's mad at his dad, although, again, like,
We
aliens
don't
are
get
attacking,
it.
put it aside. But what about your little sister?
Yeah.
He cares about his little sister, but he leaves her behind. And so he runs off. They make you think he died. And then when he comes back in the end, and they're all hugging, it's like, no.
And then there's the sun.
yeah, there's
like,
no-
he
but
popped-
they- like, they
But
just-
it's like, how did he get there? But also, he left them behind.
Yeah.
He left his little sister behind.
Yeah.
And as far as he knew, until they got there, they were dead. Because, like, they hide out in that basement for, I don't know how long, like a day or two. So, I feel like that's such a, like, I hate this son character because he's so selfish in an unrealistic way.
yeah.
But you're also saying, like, when he pops up at the end, I bet everyone was like, oh.
Well, yeah.
Did I fall asleep? Like, when the hell did
It would
this
have been
happen?
more interesting if that was left open, like
Right.
some ambiguity. Like, what about the son? And like, what was Rob? I think was his name, Robbie.
Robbie, yeah.
Yeah, and then it's like, what about Robbie? And we're like, oh, like we don't know. And like, maybe the movie ends with them looking to find him, and that's the end of the movie. That would have been more interesting. But like, nope, he's fine.
But during those moments, that's when you could have had those moments of like, this is why I don't like you type. This is why you're a bad father.
Or what if
Like,
like
you could have had some really good
Yeah.
character. Like, this movie needed to work on a small scale.
It needed the characterization. Without the character, like because there was no characterization or lacking, I feel like it just falls flat. You can't get invested really. You want to, you know what I mean? Because they're in danger and everything, but you're just like, all right.
it would have been maybe interesting too if like the characters got closer over this ordeal.
Yeah.
And then when like one of them is about to die, then they kind of do things for each other that they might not have done previously. That would have been interesting. Even with the son Robbie, the only good thing he does is help people onto the boat, right? Like when people are hanging off, he's helping people on the boat. But even that, he kind of did in a way where
It's like, you're not doing it, Dad, so I'm going to do
he
it.
kind of did in a way that was like, well, I still hate this kid.
Yeah.
He kind of did in a way that was annoying. I don't know. The whole characterization of that son really rubbed me the wrong way. I didn't feel bad when he like ran off. I was confused, but I was like, all right, get out of here.
I also felt like you said, they should have grown closer. And I feel like in the beginning, it was sort of said like, oh, you know, Tom Cruise doesn't know how to take care of his kids. Like, he doesn't know how to do it. And then at the very end, and maybe this is just me, she runs up to her mom, gives her a big hug, which is cool. And I was just thinking, like, maybe just the line to be like, Dad took care of me, or like, you know, something. Can someone give him some props, please?
Yeah,
just a
He
little
did so
something.
much.
He did a little something.
He gets
and like,
nothing.
He gets nothing, and like the first thing she does is like run to her mom and hug her mom. Of course, any kid's gonna do, but at least be like, hey, yeah, Dad did a good job, and like got us here. Like he really did something. It was just
This character gets like punished throughout the whole movie, and it never established like a justification for that.
Yeah.
So that adds to the kind of the frustration that this guy is doing pretty much everything you could do in these situations, but his kids are like weighing him down like unfairly.
Take it easy. Get off the car. Get off the car. Get off. Get off the car. Move. Move. It's my son. You don't need that, man. Where's my son? Cool down, man. Ruby. Put the gun down, man. Ruby. Put the gun down.
Okay, man, now listen. Put down the gun. I'm taking the car.
My daughter's
Put down the gun. I'm
Please.
taking the car, man.
all I want
Put down the goddamn gun!
The one sequence that I was really impressed by, though, was when the mob swarms the car.
yes.
I thought that was a really good scene of panic and paranoia, and I bought that people are kind of like maybe eating each other to stay alive, and you know there was a panic sense of like, oh no, like the Dakota Fanning might not like get out of there, and it felt like they were able to get the camera like really deep into these crowds and in the van. And I thought that whole sequence to me kind of achieved the suspense that I wish sustained throughout the whole movie. This sort of small scale fight for your life sort of mentality, and your kids are there too, and people are clawing at each other. That should have been maybe more what you got throughout the whole film.
People get during this whole mass
Like
apocalyptic people versus people.
Yeah, it's like the aliens are the start of the conflict, but the people versus each other maybe is what really takes center stage. Maybe I guess like in the sense of like The Walking Dead or something. Where it's
Yeah,
like,
but that's
people are the real villains.
But that's it really capitalizes on the fear and panic, the themes of War of the World.
Mm-hmm.
And then we got on the boat, and I'm just rolling my eyes.
Also,
Yeah.
did Cheryl show up anywhere else in the movie? Was she in the beginning?
Who?
The
mom?
woman? No, there was this woman that he encounters on the bus, or not the boat, on the boat.
Oh.
He was like, Cheryl!
About to get on the boat.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they knew each other, but I'm like, was she in the beginning?
I
of the
call
movie? I
those
didn't catch
in
her,
like
like-
in those disaster type
That was-
movies, characters when you have like a group of people, and then there's someone in like the second act is like, hi, I know you, I'm this character,
Yeah.
and then you immediately are like, you know, I
not
got a name. That's what goes on the gravestone.
Yeah.
You're dead the next scene.
Yeah, because like they
They didn't need to do that. Or someone to hold Rachel.
Yeah.
The screenwriter said someone needs to look after Rachel.
I guess.
Hello, Rachel.
Yeah.
Or-
Yeah, because they introduce her only to like write her off right away,
Yeah.
right? And I didn't really see.
The plot needed it.
She could have
Seated in
been
there.
that mother in the beginning that was holding her kid.
Could have been the neighbor.
You know,
bring her back.
that would have, just been something.
That would have been perfect.
You know?
Yeah, you're right. That
I
would
feel
have
like
been.
two different people wrote this movie now.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, the more we talk about it, the more I'm starting to think there is a theory. Your theory is correct, where they did kind of throw Steven Spielberg,
Steven Spielberg.
Steven Spielberger a bone. Here.
Yeah.
Like, hey, I had a lot of fun watching this movie.
Right.
I don't remember it the next day. I one review
Oh,
like
totally is not memorable.
there's stuff to make you go wow, but nothing you'll remember the next day. I
Yeah.
think that kind of encapsulates my feelings on the movie. Like,
Yeah.
and I do like. Yeah, no, I think your kind of theories, like I respect
It's just-
Spielberg and Cruise.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
work well together.
I agree. Like the some of the set pieces are kind of like.
Would you
I
get on a boat?
don't want to say jaw dropping. No. I
Would you got like
no.
during the, like I just watched my whole town and neighbors die
You're so
around
much
me.
more vulnerable on a boat.
Yeah.
Like you guys were doing all right. You guys went down the parkway or turnpike at full speed. I actually kind of like that shot when they're just driving down.
Yeah, around all the other cars that are stopped.
And
that was
you guys are
interesting.
doing well by yourself.
Yeah.
I would just avoid people as much
we're
as
finding a
possible.
cave.
Well,
we're going into the woods.
Well, that's the other thing. The son is the one who's driving when they run to that crowd. And again, like the son, I was like, did the son just ignore his dad and drive wherever he wanted? Because Tom Cruise says we have to take side roads. We can't go where there's people because they'll want the car.
Yeah.
So did the son just ignore him out of spite?
That's right. Oh.
And like then that leads to them losing the van. Like the son just pisses me off every scene.
Yeah.
I can't stand this kid.
And then after the boat, then comes the field where we lose the son, and then we spend an hour, basically 3 hours with Tim Robbins.
Tim Robbins, that was such...
It started out so good.
It was interesting.
How they introduced him, like, I didn't know he was in this movie, Tim Robbins. Like,
yeah, I was like, oh, okay. But he kind of just brings the movie further down, because his character is so alienating. I get that he's like this like conspiracy theory type character.
Right.
But that sequence to me felt like forever. Like they're in that basement for so long, and I think I checked it out. Overall, it's only maybe like 15 minutes, but it felt like an hour they were in that basement, and it was such a drag.
15, yeah.
The pacing really it's up and down so much.
Well, they talk forever before the tentacle even attacks. It's
Right.
Like, what do you think's going on out there?
But he knows somehow,
Yeah,
Tim Robbins. The terraforming, that was such a set, right? He comes out of the house, because Dakota Fanning runs out of the house, and you see the terraformed landscape. That felt like such a studio lot.
Yeah.
Just filled with red vines or something.
The climax, and that leads into the climax, which before how the aliens are defeated, I consider this the big final act, and it's so anticlimactic too.
Oh, when they get captured?
Yeah, the whole grenade. I was just like,
How did he manage to pull the pins on the grenades and then get out in time before they?
He was already in the tube, and humans work together to fight aliens.
I was more distracted by the fact that it looked like they were getting pulled into a butthole.
It really did. Yeah.
What is that design? It's all this whole alien ship is metal, and there's a metal door that opens up and a metal tentacle that grabs them. But for some reason, there's this it looks like a distended butthole that they get pulled through. What was that? I found that very off-putting. That took me out of it.
Yeah.
I wonder if during the designs of these ships is oh wow, this is really cool. Hey, what's with that little butthole part? It's no, Steven, it's important.
What was
put it
why
in,
have that?
Steven.
Just have the doors open, they go out, and it's a dark sort of abyss up there. I don't know what they were thinking when they designed that.
It's just an applause moment, when he pulls it, you realize he has some pins, and you're humans work together, applause, we defeat the alien. You defeat one ship.
Yeah.
You defeat one ship.
Well, they say when Tom Cruise is about to be taken up, they're save him, but the last guy got taken up.
Nobody even tried.
They were fending for themselves.
Yeah, and Tom Cruise didn't have a rousing. I'm trying to remember.
No, he did.
We can.
They just
win.
decided to help him, even though they were all fending for themselves. If there was something where, maybe he made a speech or something to be humans work together, we'll have a better chance of survival. Because that seems to be kind of one of the messages. I could see that, but they had no sort of moment where people clicked, and it's
Was there even a hey, that's my dad thing?
No.
No, right? That didn't even happen.
This
right?
movie does not portray humanity well. We're basically stupid.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate that under circumstances, crazy circumstances, it can be dog eat dog, human fight human, and we have to learn to get together. I can be on board for that sort of message, but they just didn't really pay it off well.
I feel the movie throughout, especially with that scene, is just going don't focus on that. Focus on the applause. Come on, Tom Cruise wins the day. Don't focus on the writing. Don't focus on this.
Yeah.
And he is a very talented writer. Mm-hmm. I just feel when you're hey, you get to write War of the Worlds. How are you gonna do it? And you're you kind of you write all your best ideas in the first act, and you're oh shit, where do I go?
Yeah.
Where do I go? Okay, they can go on a boat. Field, butthole, and then I got my ending. The ending makes sense. I'll call Morgan. Morgan's an old friend of mine.
That had to always be the ending.
He's got
right?
that voice.
That's the ending, I guess, of the novel and all the previous.
And it
versions.
works well in the 1910s when people had no idea what.
Discovered germs.
Just discovered germs, and
that was relevant back then. This time it happened so suddenly. It's movie's over all of a sudden, and it was germs. And Morgan Freeman, who only narrated the beginning, now narrates the end, and that's it. I also got kind of a weird, I don't know, religious vibe at the end, God and all his wisdom.
It seemed out of nowhere.
A little preachy, I guess.
And why did he let this happen in the first? God and I need.
He also created these aliens that came down and vaporized us.
What the seventh plague. You got locusts, hives, and then aliens.
So these aliens, they buried the machines underground.
Like long millions of years ago, apparently.
A long time ago. Tim Robbins says, like, they've been playing this a long time. And they get into the machine by being lightning rotted down. You even see in the news van they slow it down. But I don't know how that works. And why bury the machines? Why now?
That's a good name for an album.
Yeah.
Bury the machines.
Bury the machines.
So but this is like millions of years ago, right?
But why now? Why not attack when humans have no technological advancements?
Yeah.
Why attack when we already have like a military with like tanks and stuff?
Which is why it works well within a period piece.
Right, when we're like totally defenseless. Like why not attack when we're like cavemen and we have no chance? I don't understand what they like the timing. Like the plan of these aliens makes no sense.
Also, they know about storms and lightning, but they don't know about germs.
Yeah.
Like it's another. Like hey.
I think a couple things, like a couple tweaks in this movie could go from like, it's been pretty good. And I think maybe not even a flashback, but some explanation, like, okay, maybe you even just see like a quick shot of like their home planet and like it's all screwed up or fucked up or something.
Yeah.
Just so you can see like why they want Earth or need Earth, even if it's like you have to infer it, you know. Maybe like a shot of like them sending the pods down or something, and then it like
in the opening.
Yeah, in the opening, exactly. You know, instead of like the parameciums running around, maybe the opening is like something in that past. I think some tweaks with the family would make sense.
If they made Tom Cruise like a legit, if they made everyone a legit character, this movie had so much potential.
Yeah.
It's just wasted potential.
I would understand if Tom Cruise was getting more flack if he kind of was a little more of a jerk or he was making more mistakes, but he just kind of comes off as charming the whole movie. So
he even complimented his ex-wife in the beginning. Like, that's a good look for you because she was pregnant, and she's like, "Oh, thanks." Like that was a genuine moment.
I really like that moment.
I was like, "Wow, you guys are actually in good terms. This is like a healthy divorcee relationship."
What did you do?
It's very amicable.
What did you do, Tom Cruise?
The only thing we get that I guess him being a little bit of a jerk is in the very beginning when he's working on the docks, and like I guess his boss is like, "We could use some more help," and he's like, "Sorry, union rules," and then he leaves. Like that's the only thing. And his boss says something.
Union rules. The boss had to go home because he was already late to meet his kids.
Yeah, he had a legit reason, and also like his boss says something like, "That's your problem. Like you only care about yourself." Like, that's... Okay, I guess that's all we'll get then.
Yeah, exactly.
That sums it up.
Mom says you got a report due on Monday, so you're gonna work on that when done here.
Yeah, I'm almost finished. I just gotta type it up.
Yeah, bullshit.
Yeah? What do you know, Ray?
Everything. Haven't you heard? Between me and my brother, we know everything.
What's the capital of Australia?
It's what my brother knows.
Okay, so...
I'm just looking at the audience reviews, and I think a lot of people are just resonating what we're saying, like disappointing, underwhelming.
I think also the movie takes itself way too seriously. Again, the aliens are zapping us. It's kind of silly, but the movie totally plays it straight. Which, I don't know, maybe you could add a moment of Tom Cruise. I don't know if you have a joke, but something to lighten the mood a little bit. It was so bleak. The whole movie was just like dark and bleak.
Yeah, which is unusual for... I'm trying to think of like... I'm just thinking of Spielberg's filmography, and there's always a nice charm to it. Not even like the main character, which Tom Cruise was able to be charming. You're on his side immediately, but there is... I don't know. It was lacking something. And it was just lacking. I'm just looking at this one comment. It's like, I'm stunned at the 42% rating here. You people have been to the theater in the last few years to watch sci-fi movies? Only gripe I had was the two kids. Got on my nerves a lot. But the special effects were good. Cruise in his usual solid acting. Nice touch with the original War of the World actors doing a cameo. I missed that.
Really?
I didn't know.
I missed that.
Who cares?
But it just seems like wasted potential.
That was one of the few positive audience scores. I mean, it's 42%, but a lot of people are writing things like disappointing. Kind of talking about like the mood or tone.
But the critics were a lot like, I really enjoyed this spectacle.
Yeah, it's spectacle.
A true popcorn apocalypse. It's crafted with sinister technological grandeur. Like people, I think, are like.
A popcorn movie has to have like a little more like energy or a little more like joy to it.
Like you said, yeah, because it was so bleak. I cracked open like a seltzer, like a regular seltzer, nothing anything special, but like I couldn't even like really bring myself to drink it because it was so like it just felt so bleak the whole time.
Yeah.
I don't want to popcorn to this.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly. That's the whole thing with popcorn movies. It's like you're so into it that you don't even realize you're eating or drinking,
Yeah.
or you're just like kind of just on like autopilot. It was such a downer. You're just kind of like sitting there, kind of statically. And it's kind of a passive viewing. There's not really a lot to get involved in.
Well, the characters are not driving the plot. Like the plot itself, which like they're reacting
things
to the
happening
plot.
to them. And it just seems like hopeless then.
And then thinks it can tie it up nicely with a neat little bow. Just like, oh, everyone you liked survived.
Right.
But I didn't like
and then
any of
there's
them.
Robbie at the end. I wish it's just like there was a scene in addition to Dakota Fanning saying like, "Hey, Dad, you did good work, kid."
Yeah.
I wish Robbie would like there would have been something like, "How did you get out?" It's like, not like a flashback or anything, but just some explanation because I remember seeing this, but this was like a family movie I saw. With my parents, and
I saw it with my family,
it was
too.
billed as an event movie. Like,
anytime Spielberg comes out with the movie, it's built up, right? And it's supposed to be like a major event of the film year.
This was also during the Tom Cruise jumping on couches, like the summer of love. For, like, I love Katie Holmes.
That's funny, man. I think this movie. What else came out in 2005? You know what?
Batman Begins.
Batman Begins came out. I think I saw this like the same week as that. And that movie's a dark tone, but it still manages to like sneak in some humor.
Yeah.
It has likable characters, and you can have a dark movie that has a dramatic tone, but still have moments of color or like energy or excitement or joy. And this movie didn't really find the time to put any of that in
Also,
there.
it knows where it's going.
Yes. Like Batman Begins, you know the purpose of where everyone's going. This movie,
there was no hope in this movie.
Yeah, it just seems so like you're just kind of wandering around aimlessly, and aliens.
Well,
like
the hope is in your boogers. The hope is in your boogers.
Yeah.
Like that, because it's just so. Like if you don't like the ending with Tom Cruise, like the Tom Cruise, like humanity helping Tom Cruise to defeat this one thing, we did it, and then hey, why are they dying?
But
it's like a facade of hope.
Yeah.
Like,
there was no even allusions to the germs causing trouble or anything. You know what I mean?
That wasn't set up.
Yeah, it wasn't set up at all. You couldn't even like sort of piece that together. Like, oh, that might happen. You know?
Tim Robbins at least had like
an
alien piece, and he's like putting his like. Just like, oh, they're reacting differently to this. I would have appreciated that. Maybe not even Tim Robbins, but someone.
What if one of the aliens who comes to the basement, like Dakota Fanning, sneezes on the thing, just like riles and dies? Or something.
That would have worked.
You could have set it up
like he's about to get her or something like that. Yeah, and she sneezes.
This movie makes me appreciate like other like maybe like A Quiet Place and Mars Attacks a lot more. Like just like aliens that come here, they have reasons they want to fuck. They present themselves as friendly.
Yeah.
And they want to fuck shit up.
Mars Attacks, I find... I'm not crazy about that movie, but I find the same frustration with that movie as this movie. It's like, aliens are just killing us, and there's nothing we can do about it.
But at least they didn't take themselves seriously.
It was silly.
That's a silly B movie.
Yeah, see, and at least with that movie, it's frustrating that, like, aliens are just zapping us, but at least it's funny and, like
they die by song.
Yeah,
like yodeling or something.
It's self-aware. That movie is self-aware. This movie was not really self-aware at all. But I'm trying to, we most of our comments here are negative, but I'm just trying to get back to maybe what were the more positive things that like critics maybe were focusing on. I guess maybe they liked the acting. Tom Cruise.
The acting wasn't bad.
It was alright. Although I have to say, Dakota Fanning screaming really got on my nerves.
Ooh man, it did me. Yeah, same here. Like maybe it's just kids in general, but like that. Like ear splitting, like top of your lungs screaming.
I thought we over exaggerated, like, and then watching it again, I'm like, oh wow, shut up.
Yeah, at the time too, I think that was a joke everyone made about this movie, like on late night shows and stuff, was how much she was screaming. It was kind of satirized, and it's warranted. I get that she's a little girl and she's scared because aliens are killing people, but you have to dilute that to make it watchable.
The I Want Mom, that's the part where I'm like, It's like, God,
Yeah.
like that's it.
What
Like,
do you want
do
me
you
to
not
do?
see what's happening around us?
Yep.
I'm doing my best here.
But
Shut the hell up.
He said, like, I'm driving us there. Like, I'm going to Mom. Like,
And she just keeps getting louder and louder, and it's and I think he turns like, Robbie, can you shut her up?
And then Rob was being dicks like, you don't want to go to Mom, so you can dump us on her again. And it's
yeah,
My house is destroyed.
like,
their home is destroyed.
yeah.
It's still, I don't know. That's. I'm trying to think. Like, do they like the acting in this movie? Maybe not with the kids. Maybe with.
Tom Cruise, I felt like was doing the best that he could
Mm-hmm.
with what he was working with.
He's fine.
I think the problem just lies with, unfortunately, with the script.
Yeah.
Just like what, and Dakota Fanning has proven herself as an actress, and Tom Cruise especially has proven himself as a Tom Cruise actor, like a Tom Cruise type.
They could have plucked his character out of like the Mission Impossible series and put him.
He
in
could have been any job.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
He could like lawyer Tom Cruise, clam huckster Tom Cruise.
They had to give him
any job.
He had to have a blue collar job, so he
Yeah.
lived in this tiny like Bayonne house that's like its back is to the highway, just to
I'm a
rub it
blue-collar
in.
guy.
Just to rub it in that like his wife lives in a much nicer house. But I guess really the critics are focusing a lot on the effects and the action set pieces. That seems to be like a good enough for them that they give it this positive score.
So if we like, I guess, go on a little time machine for ourselves, like for 2005, I think the effects were really good.
Yeah,
They still hold up very, very well.
I totally agree. But I always was on the impression that for any other movie, critics want more than that.
That's true, yeah.
And I'm just trying to think what else I could have liked about this movie that is like they're recommending it. They think this is up there with other Spielberg movies.
I think this movie's worthy of the nominations that it got.
On technical levels.
On technical levels, I think it lost to King Kong in all accounts. But it just... You forget the next day.
Yep.
Yeah, doesn't resonate really at all. And that's a shame because most of Spielberg's movies, like you think of his most iconic, and he has so many, people continue to watch it. It does stick with you. They're conversation pieces. And
I was kind of excited to having not watched this since 2005 when we decided to do this movie, I was excited to watch this again.
I think
with
at the
fresh
time,
eyes,
at the
what I
time,
remember.
people were excited to go see it.
Yeah.
It made money. And it was, again, like on paper,
Made a good
everything about
amount,
it, you would think it works. So it was a very highly anticipated movie. And I'm still a little bit of a
Once
loss.
they leave Bayonne, your interest slowly drops.
I would never want to leave Bayonne. I'm just at a little bit of a loss where exactly these critics are coming from. The there's thrills, but it's inconsistent, I would say. I want more of that, like, that van sequence feel. Just more of that kind of, like... You're right, James, you brought up, it should have been smaller scale with aliens. I don't know. I
think we could write. I feel like we presented enough ideas on how we could improve this movie.
Let's remake it!
Yeah. And I think it doesn't even have to be totally remade. Just some things need to be changed a little bit.
It was modernized. It was modernized on a technical level. It was not modernized on a narrative level.
Yeah.
Which is the biggest problem.
So I do not remake this movie in modern day. I don't want to see
come up with another alien movie.
I apparently the show is a period piece, and I think that might work. I'll check it out. But if they were ever in about 10 years, like, hey, let's do War of the Worlds, don't do it with modern technology.
This does not need to be a franchise that they update every 10 to 15 years.
You would think a nuke would have gone off that one.
Yeah, I was surprised about that too.
They're willing to nuke New York City with the Avengers and they would have
and Cloverfield.
Cloverfield, yeah. They would have at least nuked Montana or something.
Right, yeah, give it a shot, see what happens.
Yeah, at that point.
From the moment the invaders arrived, breathed our air, ate and drank, they were doomed. They were undone, destroyed, after all of man's weapons and devices had failed, by the tiniest creatures that God in his wisdom put upon this earth. By the toll of 1 billion deaths, man had earned his immunity, his right to survive among this planet's infinite organisms. And that right is ours against all challenges, for neither do men live nor die in vain.
All right. Well, I think we're at the point where we can give our own personal scores, percentages. But just a reminder: 75% with critics, 42% with audiences. James, we'll start with you. What percentage would you give this movie?
I think I'm gonna 57.
Okay, a 57. So,
It's
Ryan.
not as low as a lot of other audience members. I just think if some things had been changed a little bit, it would have gone from okay to like I actually enjoyed that.
So yeah, maybe like it was like there, but just needed to be pushed.
Yeah, it
like,
just
all the
needed
way.
a cut, like not a couple, quite a few tweaks
Yeah.
in some areas, some specific areas, mainly around character. And I think this could have been like a much
One
more
of his
memorable-
better ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, that could have made all the difference. That's for sure. What about you, Keith?
I think the audience got it right on the nose. I would give it a 42.
All right, Keith is giving it a 42.
Like there are some good parts, but I think I saw the flaws, and I think we have expanded more on the flaws than I think the audience got it right on the nose here.
I found this to be just not pleasant to watch. I feel like watching this movie was a frustrating experience, and it didn't feel like a waste of time. It just felt like, I was not in a good mood after watching it.
Yeah.
So I would give this movie, I'd give it a 39.
Wow.
Ooh.
Wow.
I just think that...
I'm the highball here. I can't believe that.
Yeah, it's your honest opinion, man.
That
It's
means
all
you're
good.
going to be cast in the new Spielberg.
Yeah.
We're gonna vaporize you.
Yeah.
It's fine. I for me, that's a score that's like, this is a squandered potential. I don't even question just remaking this movie in the first place.
Yeah.
It's just an outdated story. It's fine for the time that it was in, and there was no really need to bring it back. So I will give that a 39, and I'll divide that by 3. And our average score, is a 46. So Keith, you're in the middle. It's definitely close to your score.
I think it's just a rotten all around.
Yeah. Varying degrees.
Varying
Maybe
degrees of
closer
rotten.
to fresh with James, but
Well, I
still
guess
rotten.
60, I guess, is what they consider fresh. But I guess in my mind, that's still like, that's barely, it's like a D.
It's not great.
You know, like,
A high D.
Yeah.
I've been giving Keith a hard time because in some of our other reviews or episodes, he'll give like what is objectively a bad score, but say like he'll give someone a 45, but say it's a good 45. I'm like, there's no such thing as a good 45. So yeah, we're giving this an F, and it's not a good F. So I will officially decree that this podcast sides with the audience. So it's a movie that has come and gone, and I think it'll stay in the past where it belongs.
I think it'll stay gone.
Yeah.
I don't know, with the way they're making movies now, like, very well.
Yeah,
You can
anything's
see it
up for grabs.
We could see it in 5-10 years.
Would the aliens come back? Would the aliens come back after or it's like the science aliens like, well, there's more water.
Right.
Okay, well, thank you, James, for joining us.
Happy to be here. Thanks
Yeah,
for having
thank
me.
you.
Discussing War of the Worlds. And join us next week, guys, for another Divided Film.